You know what? I thought the stuff was good coming in. I really did. I think that obviously you look to the Madrigal at bat, and you know, I think it was 14, 15 pitches, and you know, after the first inning, I just didn't feel comfortable getting him past the 40 pitch mark in one inning, and in that second inning he had one out. And then here comes Neto, and then here comes Trout, and I just felt right there to what end that I'm not going to put this guy in harm's way with stress. So obviously the bullpen had to take the toll today, the brunt of it, but with the off day I feel like we could reset. And again, I just didn't feel comfortable going out there, and you know, I love the way that Evan felt that there was more in the tank, but I'm just not, I wouldn't do that to any of our guys.
With the bullpen, what have you been seeing? It feels like there are obviously some guys who are there and been on track, but a few that, you know, getting a couple runs tacked on here and there. What are you just seeing from that group at the moment?
You know, I think that, you know, Blake got paper cut today, and I think Alex, the leadoff walk, got him. You know, and I think that it made him labor more. You know, to walk Meckler, the first hitter he faced, you know, we can't do that. I thought Hernandez was fine, you know. I tried to extend him to kind of shorten the game, and then some of the ball, as he kind of got into the inning, his outing, the ball was up a little bit more, certainly to the Adele pitch. But there were some other CNI ground balls that got through, you know, the Siri, the Madrigal ball, you know, so that's going to happen with baseball. But I still feel like he's done a nice job in his role. I thought Jack threw the ball well. I thought Kyle threw the ball well. Yeah, so, you know, it's just, I thought Enriquez threw the ball well also. So I think the bullpen's done a fine job.
Dalton seemed pretty adamant earlier that the Syrian fell off the ball early in the game. I know obviously it's not reviewable, but what explanation, if any, did you sort of get?
Didn't get an explanation. It should be reviewable. That's something that, you know, we got the hit by pitch reviewed. When it initially wasn't implemented, it wasn't. And I just think that, you know, that changed the game. I mean, you know, that changed the game, and obviously, you know, the Madrigal check swing, I felt that he went, and, you know, those are things that, you know, could impact the game, and I know that they're talking about the replay with the check swing too, so those are things that could have, you know, that did impact the game.
I know you kind of touched on this, but with the off day, not just the off day tomorrow, but also kind of, right, the length that you've been getting from your starters, how do you just kind of feel, I guess, about the bullpen, and, you know, how confident are you, I guess, that today won't kind of have any kind of lasting effects beyond this game?
I feel good. I feel confident. Obviously, we stayed away from Scott and Scott and Klein today with the off day. Then, you know, Blake will be back. A couple of the guys might be down, but yeah, I think that the starters have been giving us a lot of length, and you know, we got Shohei going on Wednesday after Lauer, so I feel like, you know, with Lauer we can get some length out of him, get length out of Shohei, so I really feel good about the starters going forward.
Will, that was a neck thing again?
Yeah, you know, it's a neck thing, and it's not something that's really, it's not anything that's serious, but it's something that is preventing him from playing. So as I sat here yesterday and felt confident that he was going to be in there today, it just didn't, it got a little bit better, but not enough to play. We've got the off day tomorrow, which you would think that it makes it better, but then there is travel. So, you know, I guess for me, status for Tuesday, just TBD, and it's kind of a day-to-day thing.
Is there anything he's got to get looked at?
He did got scans on it, and nothing, you know, we checked out. It was great. It was good.
Betts and Pages, those are just routine days off?
Yeah, Pages, it was 9 in a row, 4 days in Arizona on the turf, and I want to make sure I take care of him.
How much do you think those two long at-bats for Madrigal kind of had an impact on this game?
It had a huge impact. You know, 14 pitches, maybe 10 pitches. He walked, I think, 3 times today. Huge impact. And, you know, that bottom half of the order, they were fouling off a lot of balls. We could put those guys away at, you know, 6 through 9. You know, I don't think we got those guys out today, you know, so, but yeah, the Madrigal at bats really was a difference today. It really was.
How much, you know, obviously, like last season, I think you guys led the majors in bullpen innings pitched. This year, your guys are on the complete other side of it. When you kind of look at the season as a whole, how much do you think that's going to help kind of in the second half of the season? You know, because like last year, you guys went through that that stretch where you guys had trouble closing out games. What do you think that'll help you guys avoid that?
I mean, obviously, if you get length out of your starters, that's always a good thing. I think so. For me, yeah, if we can kind of manage their innings, put them in their rightful lanes, I think that that's a benefit now and longer term. And it's all kind of contingent on the starters doing what they've been doing. So, and also when you look back and hopefully, you get Blake back at some point, you get, Tyler back at some point to keep adding that kind of stacking the deck with the starters, should make everybody else better. And also, we got some guys coming back in the pen too, Evan Phillips, namely at some point. So things are looking up.
Shohei got the 5 games, multi hits, last 6 games. And so what do you think about his swing right now?
I think Shohei's, I think his body's feeling good. I think he's seeing the ball well. He's hitting the ball hard. He's just taking really good at bats. So yeah, when he's going well, it certainly spurs the offense to score some runs because it seems like he's always on base, and it just makes life a lot better for us when Shohei's swinging the bat like that.
He's leading like the NL and OPS, and he moved up to first place yesterday. Is that kind of nuts to think about, given the fact that it doesn't really feel like he's really gotten going?
And I don't think he really has gotten going because I do think that the slug is going to start really coming, but he's hitting the ball hard, he's taking his walks, but and he's obviously doing it on the mound, so it's just how special of a player Shohei is, Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Yep.
He had the 2 home runs the first game, and then so far in that role, 8 games, he's gone 8 for 32, hitting 250, a 783 OPS. I mean, you're going to have to give him a much larger sample size still coming back from injury. But Fabian, do you think that there's been a little bit of a difference in the at-bat quality there in the cleanup spot since he's been moved down from the 2-hole?
Not too much. Like I honestly think like he's looked like Mookie Betts in a lot of ways. Like I think in that first game you definitely did, like where he's freed up. You didn't feel like he was like trying to be over patient, like he was aggressive early in counts. And that's Mookie Betts like at his best is he has such a great eye, but also knowing when you can cut it loose early on in counts and be aggressive. He did that in that first game. I think right now, sort of like to Jerry's point earlier in the show, like he's a guy who's still clearly trying to find a feel in his swing that allows him to access that aggression. So feel confident, like, hey, I could pull the trigger here and do the kind of damage I need to do. He's definitely more in survival mode right now. He has been for a lot of the season. And yeah, like I think some of it, he needs a little bit of grace because like this is a guy who spent all spring training trying to work on his swing, but also didn't play a lot of Cactus League games. And also is a guy who then immediately suffers an injury where you essentially can't swing for a month. So there's a lot of things in your swing that kind of get lost when you're not able to work on it every single day. So I think obviously it's not the production that he was expecting this season, especially all the work he did to get back on track in the offseason. But yeah, it's one of the things where the swing hasn't been consistent enough to allow him to do the things that he usually can do.
And Jerry, kind of feels like everyone kind of wants that 2023 Mookie Betts back. 39 home runs, was one of the best hitters in the league, had hit over 300. But so I kind of run this by you guys. I mean, the fact that he is 2 outs above average as a shortstop, he's shown he's more than a competent shortstop. You can even make the argument he's a plus shortstop. Almost feels like if you just kind of recalibrate what his value is to this team, it's like, hey, him being a shortstop and maybe being 20% above league average still makes him an extremely valuable player. He had over 4 WAR last season. I feel like that's kind of the way to frame it in my eyes because there's this expectation. Oh, if he goes back to right field, he's going to be a better hitter. I think all of us know that that's insane, right? That's not how it works. So I kind of feel like he's more than throwing his value. If you can just get that bat to where we kind of need it to be, a little bit above league average, as a plus shortstop.
Well, he is a plus shortstop. I just love what he's done defensively. He has become one of the better shortstops defensively in all of baseball. I mean, his range is outstanding. The consistency he is of not only getting balls to his right, to his left. He is a shortstop, great shortstop. And when you're playing, or excuse me, when you're watching him play, you don't even think about him playing right field anymore during the game. You don't think about it. That's how good he is as a shortstop. To get back at hitting, I think he's going to have to make some adjustments. Again, nobody is more of a fan than Mookie Betts. Mookie Betts was my favorite player before he went to the Dodgers. He was my favorite player. When he was with the Red Sox, I said it, I think the last show, I went to go meet Mookie Betts. I saw him swing the bat with the Red Sox. I go, this kid is absolutely electric. He's a throwback, old school. I mean, top hand on a line, kind of like a smaller version of Gary Sheffield. That's how great of a top hand he had. He backspin balls over the monster, backspin balls to right center field. He was so fun to watch. And I was like, man, I wish that was the player I wanted to be. Mookie Betts. I wanted to be Mookie Betts. I didn't have that talent, didn't have the ability. But to see him now swing the bat, it's like, wow, that's not Mookie Betts to me. That's not. He's very passive with his top hand. And it's so weird to see that now. He's not 42 years old. He's not 43. I think he's trying to be so perfect that he's taking away from what makes him great. He had an electric top hand, Sheffield-esque top hand. And now, you know, you're getting a lot of pop-ups to second, a lot of pop-ups to center, to right field. And that's not Mookie Betts to me. That's not Mookie. Hopefully he gets back to that, you know, because that is a fun baseball player to watch. Probably I could make a case, you know, Mookie Betts, 2020 Mookie Betts, you know, 2018 Mookie Betts, 2016 Mookie Betts is the most exciting player in all of baseball. He is. And hopefully he gets back to that. He is not old by any means. He's still young. And in my eyes, he's in his prime. So hopefully he gets back to using that top hand. When he's using that top hand, man, whoo, he is fun to watch.
Yeah, he's never been a big bat speed guy. I mean, that's not something that his game is predicated on. He's definitely not old, but he's also not one of these like 6'3", 6'4" guys that are gigantic where the margin for error is not as big. But you also look at some of the expected numbers and some of the batted ball stuff, the average exit velocity well above average. Fabian, do you think it is a matter of there is some bad luck involved and the results are going to eventually come?
I think there's some element to that as well. Like I do think some of the process stuff is still looked good because like this is a guy who the approach is still really good. Like it's Mookie Betts. Like this is sort of what to my point earlier. Like this is a guy who has such a good eye, understands the zone. That like yes, like sometimes like even during those peak years in LA, like there are some people like Freddie Freeman like nudging like, hey, you should be more aggressive. There's more damage you could be doing rather than taking these pitches. And obviously, like that's gonna keep the floor pretty high for him offensively, even if he's going through it like he has. And yeah, to your point earlier, Doug, like the fact of moving up the defensive spectrum means that you don't necessarily need as much offensively to make him such a valuable player. And yeah, maybe there is a recalibration of expectations with him at this point. Like he's not going to be an MVP level Mookie Betts, although maybe like that's still in there. Obviously, I'm not going to completely rule anything out. But like, if you're looking at it, just like, is he a valuable player to the Dodgers in 2026? Yeah, he's been a valuable player, even if the bat hasn't quite been there. And it's just a matter of like tapping into enough of like what Jerry said, also some of the bad ball luck maybe coming back his way, or just letting things kind of play out because it's still not a lot of play appearances from the season.
That's true.
And letting stuff kind of normalize over the course of the season.
If you could look at his last at bat, he hit an absolute rocket to shortstop last night. 108 off the bat. 108 off the bat. So it's there. And I think that last bat, you know what? He got a little frustrated. I'm just going to do me and hit a bullet somewhere. He hits a rocket. Now, obviously, that's bad luck right at the shortstop. But those are the type of at-bats that we're used to seeing Mookie Betts have when he's on. Hitting those bullets everywhere. And hopefully that at-bat, even though it was an out, he takes that over to tonight. And like I said, use both hands, not just that lead hand, but finish with that top hand.
Yeah, that's really the interesting thing, too. I mean, not really seeing the strikeouts, not really seeing the whiffs. So, yeah, maybe he needs to call Corey Seager, talk about being a little aggressive on the first couple of pitches, see what can happen. But I'm with you, Jerry. I mean, when Mookie's right, I mean, there's no one that's more fun to watch at the play on the base pass. And it's great to see him at shortstop as well. I mean, and you look at around the league, I mean, C.J. Abrams having a big year, Ellie De La Cruz, I mean, Bobby Witt Jr., but I mean, shortstop numbers offensively are very, very different. So, yeah. And also, too, Bobby, I remember he said at FanFest, he was talking about how if he can play shortstop, it allows the Dodgers to focus on adding at other positions. So I almost feel like it's his version of the deferred contract for Shohei Ohtani. It's like, hey, here's my way of, hey, you paid me big. I took some deferred money, but I can also do some things for the team that can allow you to put some more talent around us to go and win championships.
Yeah, that was part of the logic. And that was part of the logic of him volunteering to do this. Like, hey, especially when they first moved him to the infield, it's, hey, it's a lot easier to acquire a corner outfielder on the market than it is to acquire a middle infielder. And if Mookie Betts is one of the few players on planet Earth or in the majors who are capable of playing a Gold Glove right field as well as middle infield, like I think Fernando Tatis Jr. is like one of the few other guys who's shown the ability to do that in reverse. Like if you're capable of doing that, and it sort of helps make the roster make a lot more sense. And they've kind of engineered the roster now where it's not like he could go back to right field, even if that was seen as like the antidote to all this, which it's not. But like I think it's kind of organized this roster in a way that it has added more juice into the lineup. Like it's helped in like make the transition of adding Teoscar Hernandez work so well the last couple of years. It opened the door to sign a Kyle Tucker. So all these things kind of have helped make the roster fit a lot easier for the Dodgers.
So I'll just say Mookie went 3 for 5 yesterday because he gave us Kyle Tucker. Okay, so we'll just count that on his stats.
ここまで見てくれたあなた、本当にありがとう。この動画が少しでも面白かったら、コメントで意見を聞かせてください。そして高評価、シェア、チャンネル登録も忘れずに、次の動画でまた一緒に野球の熱狂を味わいましょう。